I'm standing in my kitchen holding an invitation. Cream-colored cardstock. Gold embossed lettering. The kind of elegant wedding invitation that costs $5 per card and screams, "We spared no expense." My hands are shaking so badly I can barely read the words, but I don't need to read them. I've already memorized every devastating line. Mr. Ethan Parker and Ms. Madison Hayes request the honor of your presence at the celebration of their marriage. My husband and my sister. Married. Not having an affair. Not just sleeping together. Actually married. Legally. Officially. While still married to me. The invitation came in yesterday's mail, mixed in with grocery store circulars and credit card offers, like it was just another piece of junk mail instead of a bomb that would detonate my entire existence. At first I thought it was a sick joke. Some kind of mistake. Maybe a weird coincidence. Someone else named Ethan Parker marrying someone else named Madison Hayes. But then I saw the photo. The engagement photo printed on the insert card. Ethan and Madison posed on a beach at sunset, her hand displaying a ring I didn't recognize, both of them smiling like they'd just won the lottery instead of destroyed a family. That's when I knew. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't a joke. This was real. My husband of 10 years had married my 26-year-old sister, and they were so proud of it, so confident in what they'd done, that they'd sent me a wedding invitation. I dropped the invitation on the counter, walked to the bathroom, look at myself in the mirror. I'm 35 years old. Still attractive, I think, though maybe I'm biased. Dark hair that I keep professionally colored to hide the gray that stress has been producing. Green eyes that used to sparkle, but now just look tired. A face that's starting to show lines from 10 years of trying to be the perfect wife to a man who is apparently auditioning for a replacement the entire time. I don't look like someone whose life just imploded. I look normal. Ordinary. Like a woman who might be getting ready for work or making breakfast or doing any of the 1,000 mundane things that women do every day. But inside, I'm screaming. Inside, I'm shattering into pieces, so small they might never be reassembled. Inside, I'm feeling rage so intense it physically hurts, a burning in my chest that makes it hard to breathe, a tightness in my throat that suggests if I start screaming I might never stop. My husband married my sister. My baby sister. The girl I helped raise after her parents died. The girl I put through college. The girl who lived in this house, our house, for 2 years while she got her life together after graduation. She was a guest in our home. And she seduced my husband. Or he seduced her. Or they seduced each other. Does it even matter who initiated it? The result is the same. They destroyed me. Together. As a team. And then they had the audacity to send me a wedding invitation like I should be happy for them. Like I should celebrate their love story that was built on the corpse of my marriage. I look at my reflection one more time. And I make a decision. A cold, calculated, absolutely final decision. If they want to play games, I'll play. If they want to destroy me publicly with their wedding celebration, I'll destroy them back. If they think sending me that invitation was the final humiliation, they're wrong. I'm going to send them a wedding present. A very special wedding present. One that will end them both in ways they never saw coming. And they'll deserve every bit of it.
Wait.
Stop right there. Before I take you one step further into the story, I need to talk to you about something incredibly important. If you love real life stories, the raw, unfiltered, emotionally devastating kind that make your heart race and your blood boil, then you need to be subscribed to this channel right now. Not later. Not after you finish watching.
Right now.
Because what you're about to witness is not just revenge. This is strategic, calculated, absolutely devastating payback that will make you question everything you thought you knew about betrayal and justice. This is a woman who is broken by the two people she trusted most, and what she does to them. The package she sends to their wedding is going to shock you. It's going to make you gasp. It's going to make you say, "Oh my God," out loud. And I need you here for every single moment of it. So please, if you love stories about betrayal and revenge, if you love seeing cheaters get exactly what they deserve, if you love watching someone who's been destroyed rise up and destroy right back, hit that subscribe button. Smash that like button because this video needs to reach everyone who's ever been betrayed by someone they loved. Turn on notifications to see my new video alert. And leave a comment telling me, what would you do if your spouse married your sibling? Because Vanessa is about to show us exactly what she did. And it's going to be absolutely brutal. Now, let's go back. Back to the beginning. Back to when Vanessa and Ethan were happy. Before Madison entered the picture. Before everything fell apart. Because you need to understand what she lost to appreciate what she's about to do. 10 years ago, I was Vanessa Hayes, 25 years old, working as a marketing coordinator for a tech startup in Atlanta. I was ambitious, confident, full of dreams about the future I was going to build. I'd moved to Atlanta from our small hometown after college, determined to make something of myself, determined to be more than just another girl from nowhere going nowhere. Ethan Parker walked into my life at a networking event. He was 28, a rising junior partner at a prestigious law firm, wearing a suit that probably cost more than my monthly rent. He was confident without being arrogant, charming without being smarmy, and when he smiled at me across the room, I felt it in my chest. "You look like you'd rather be anywhere but here," he said, approaching with 2 glasses of wine. "Is it that obvious?" Only to someone who feels the same way.
I met
Vanessa. We talked for 3 hours about our careers, our ambitions, our completely shared hatred of networking events, but understanding that they were necessary evils. He made me laugh, made me feel interesting, made me feel seen in a way I hadn't felt in years. "Can I take you to dinner?" he asked at the end of the night. A real dinner, not a networking event. Just 2 people getting to know each other without having to pretend we care about everyone else's elevator pitches. I'd like that. We dated for 2 years. He was everything I thought I wanted, successful, stable, ambitious, but not consumed by work. He supported my career, encouraged me to take risks, celebrated my successes, made me feel like we were building something together. When he proposed, it was perfect. Not Instagram perfect with flash mobs and photographers. Just perfect for us. A quiet dinner at the restaurant where we'd had our first date. A ring he designed himself because he knew I'd hate anything too flashy. A proposal that was honest and heartfelt and made me cry happy tears. "I want to build a life with you," he said. "Not because I need you, but because I choose you. Every day. Forever. Will you marry me?"
Yes.
1,000 times yes. Our wedding was beautiful, small but elegant. My sister Madison was my maid of honor. She was 16 then, gangly and awkward, and so excited to be part of my big day. Our parents had died in a car accident 3 years earlier. A drunk driver, wrong place, wrong time, the kind of tragedy that makes you question whether the universe has any plan at all. And Madison and I only had each other. "I'm so happy for you," she'd said while helping me into my wedding dress. "Ethan's perfect. And you're perfect. And you're going to have the most perfect life." "Not perfect," I'd corrected. "But good. Really, really good." And it was good. For years, it was good. We both worked hard, built our careers, bought a house in a neighborhood we loved. Talked about starting a family eventually, though we kept putting it off because we were so focused on work, on building financial security, on being ready. Madison moved to Atlanta when she graduated college. She was lost, unsure what she wanted to do, struggling to find her footing. I offered to let her stay with us while she figured things out. "Are you sure?" Ethan had asked. "Having your sister live with us, that changes the dynamic. She's family. And she needs help. We have the space. It'll be fine." "Okay. If you're sure." "I'm sure." Madison moved into our guest room, got a job at a marketing agency, started building her own life. And I was proud of her, proud of the woman she was becoming, proud that I could help her the way our parents would have if they were still alive. I had no idea I was inviting a viper into my home. No idea that my husband and my sister would look at each other and see something other than family. No idea that the foundation of my perfect life was already cracking. The truth came out in the worst possible way. Not because I caught them. Not because someone told me. But because of a phone call from a number I didn't recognize. It was a Tuesday afternoon. I was at work, in the middle of a presentation to a client, when my phone buzzed with a call. I ignored it. Then it buzzed again.
And again.
Whoever was calling was persistent. During a break, I checked my voicemail. A woman's voice I didn't recognize. "Miss Parker, this is Janet Rodriguez from the Fulton County Clerk's Office. We need to speak with you regarding a legal matter involving your marriage license. Please call us back as soon as possible." My marriage license? What could possibly be wrong with our marriage license? We'd been married for 10 years. Everything was legal and proper. This had to be some kind of administrative error. I called back during lunch. The woman who answered was professional but clearly uncomfortable. "Miss Parker, I'm calling because there's been an irregularity discovered with marriage licenses in our system. Your husband, Ethan Parker, appears to have 2 active marriage licenses on file. One to you, filed 10 years ago, and one to a Madison Hayes, filed 3 months ago." The world tilted. That's impossible. Madison Hayes is my sister. There's obviously been some kind of clerical error. I assure you, ma'am, we've verified the information multiple times. Mr. Parker legally married Ms. Hayes 3 months ago, which means he's currently married to 2 people simultaneously. That's bigamy. A felony. We're required to report this to the district attorney's office, but we wanted to contact you first. This has to be a mistake. My husband wouldn't. My sister couldn't. I understand this is difficult information to receive, but the documents are real. Both marriage licenses are legitimate. I'm very sorry. I hung up, sat at my desk trying to process what I'd just heard. It didn't make sense. None of it made sense. Ethan and Madison couldn't be married. They lived in the same house. They saw each other every day. How would they even? Unless Madison moving out 6 months ago wasn't because she'd finally found her independence. Unless all those late nights Ethan claimed he was working weren't about work. Unless the distance I'd been feeling in my marriage wasn't just stress. Unless everything I thought was real was actually a carefully constructed lie. I left work, drove home in a daze, found Ethan in his home office, working on his laptop, looking exactly like he always looked. Normal.
Trustworthy.
My husband. "Hey, you're home early," he said, smiling. "Everything okay?" "I got a call from the county clerk's office today." His smile faltered. Just for a second. Just long enough for me to see the flash of panic before he covered it. "Oh, what about?" "They said you have 2 active marriage licenses. One to me, one to Madison." Silence. The kind of silence that confirms everything before a single word is spoken. "Vanessa, I can explain. You married my sister.
While still married to me.
You committed bigamy. A felony. With my sister. It's not what you think. What I think is that you married my baby sister. The girl I raised. The girl who lived in this house. The girl who was family. What part of that am I misunderstanding? We fell in love. I didn't plan it. It just happened. Those words. Those fucking words. It just happened. Like they'd accidentally tripped and fallen into matrimony. Like marrying my sister while still married to me was some kind of oops moment instead of a deliberate, calculated betrayal. "How long?" I asked. My voice was eerily calm. "How long have you been sleeping with my sister?" "Vanessa." "How long?" 2 years. It started about 2 years ago. 2 years. While Madison was living in our house. While I was making her breakfast and helping her with her career and treating her like the sister I loved. She was sleeping with my husband. For 2 years. And you married her 3 months ago. Yes. While still married to me. Yes.
Why?
Why would you marry her when you were already married to me? Why not just divorce me first? He couldn't look at me because I didn't want to lose the house, or my retirement accounts, or any of the assets we'd built together. In Georgia, if I divorced you for someone else, you'd get most of everything. But if I just stayed married to you and married Madison too, I could have everything. Both of you. All the assets. Everything. I stared at him. This man I'd loved for 12 years. This man I'd built a life with. This man I'd trusted completely. And he'd planned this. Actually planned to commit bigamy, so he wouldn't have to split assets in a divorce. You're insane. You're actually insane. Did you really think you could be married to two people and nobody would find out? I thought I had more time. Thought I could figure out a way to handle the legal stuff before anyone noticed. Handle it? How do you handle being married to two people? I was going to divorce you eventually, once I'd moved enough assets around. Once I'd protected what I'd built. Then I'd divorce you and Madison, and I would be together officially. So I was just a placeholder. Someone to keep around until you'd stolen everything I helped build. And Madison? Did she know about this plan? She knew we couldn't be public about our relationship. She understood. She understood that you were using me, that you were stealing from me, that you were committing a felony. It's not like that. Get out. The words came out as a scream. 10 years of trust and love and partnership exploding into rage, so intense I could barely see. Get out of this house right now. Vanessa, please. Get out before I call the police and have you arrested for bigamy.
He left,
Grabbed his keys and his wallet and walked out of our house, out of our marriage, leaving me standing in our living room surrounded by 10 years of memories that had just become 10 years of lies. I collapsed on the couch.
and I cried,
I cried until I couldn't breathe.
until my body ached.
Until I had no tears left and only emptiness remained. My husband. My sister. Betrayal on a level I didn't know was possible. Betrayal that wasn't just about sex or love, but about calculated theft and deliberate cruelty and a complete disregard for my humanity. And they'd done it together. As partners. As a team. While I was working to support us. While I was building our life. While I was trusting them both completely. The next few days were a blur of lawyers and police reports and private investigators. Because bigamy isn't just a marital problem, it's a crime. And I was going to make sure Ethan paid for it. My attorney, Caroline Zhang, was brilliant and ruthless. This is one of the most clear-cut cases of bigamy I've ever seen, she said during our first meeting. He's going to face criminal charges. He'll probably lose his law license. And in the divorce, you'll get everything. Georgia doesn't look kindly on spouses who commit crimes against their partners. I want him destroyed, I said. I want him to lose everything. You'll get that. But Vanessa, I need you to be prepared. This is going to get ugly. Your sister is going to be implicated too. She knowingly married a married man. That's not illegal for her, but it's going to come out. Your family drama is going to be very public. I don't care. They made this public when they sent me a wedding invitation. They what? I pulled out the invitation. Showed her the proof of their audacity. Caroline's eyes widened. They sent you an invitation to celebrate their illegal marriage. I don't even have words. That's next-level arrogance. Or stupidity. Both. Definitely both. She studied the invitation. When is this celebration? 3 weeks from now. Some fancy venue downtown. 200 guests. They went all out. Are you planning to attend?
No.
But I am planning to send a gift. Something in my tone made Caroline look up sharply. What kind of gift? The kind that exposes everything. Every lie. Every crime. Every betrayal. I want everyone at that wedding to know exactly who they're celebrating. I want Madison's friends to know she's a homewrecker. I want Ethan's colleagues to know he's a felon. I want their perfect celebration to become their worst nightmare. Vanessa, I understand you're angry, but revenge can backfire. It can make you look. I don't care how I look. They destroyed me. Now I'm going to destroy them. Caroline was quiet for a moment. Then she smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. It was the smile of a lawyer who just realized her client was about to do something incredibly satisfying. What do you need from me? Everything. Every document. Every piece of evidence. Every proof of what they did. I want it compiled into a package they'll never forget. I can do that. But Vanessa, once you do this, there's no going back. Once you expose them publicly, they'll retaliate. They'll try to paint you as bitter and vindictive. They'll try to make you the villain. Let them try. I have the truth. They have lies. And in the end, the truth always wins. Over the next 3 weeks, I became someone I didn't recognize. Someone cold, calculating, focused on revenge with an intensity that probably wasn't healthy but felt absolutely necessary. I worked with Caroline to compile every piece of evidence. Marriage certificates, both of them, showing the dates and signatures. Bank statements showing how Ethan had been systematically moving money into accounts I didn't have access to. Text messages between Ethan and Madison that the police had obtained as part of their criminal investigation. Messages that showed they'd been planning this for years, that they'd laughed about deceiving me, that they'd celebrated getting away with it. We're so good at this, Madison had texted. Vanessa has no idea. She actually thinks we're just friends. She actually trusts us. She's always been naive, Ethan had responded. Too trusting. Too willing to believe people are good. That's what makes this work. Reading those messages felt like being stabbed repeatedly. They hadn't just betrayed me. They'd mocked me. They'd seen my trust as weakness. They'd laughed about how easy I was to deceive. But those messages were also evidence. Proof of their malice. Proof of their conspiracy. Proof that this wasn't a love story gone wrong. It was a calculated scheme to steal everything I'd helped build while making me look like a fool. I also hired a private investigator. I want to know everything about their relationship, I told him. Where they met secretly. Where they went on dates. Every hotel they used. Every lie they told. Everything. What he uncovered was worse than I'd imagined. They'd been using our house. Our bed. When I was at work, they'd meet at home. They'd literally been screwing in my bed in my house while I was out working to support us. They'd also been taking elaborate vacations together. Work conferences for Ethan. Girls' trips for Madison. All lies. All opportunities to be together while I sat at home believing we were building a future. The investigator provided photos. Video surveillance from hotel lobbies. Restaurant receipts. Credit card statements. A complete documented timeline of a 2-year affair that had culminated in an illegal marriage. This is enough to destroy them both, the investigator said. Are you sure you want to use all of it? Some of this is pretty damaging. I want to use every bit of it. I want them destroyed. Okay, but ma'am, be careful. Revenge has a way of changing the person seeking it. Don't let them turn you into something you're not. They already did that. The woman I was? She died the day I found out. Now I'm someone else. Someone they created. And they're going to have to live with what they created. The wedding package I assembled was a work of art. Dark art, maybe, but art nonetheless. It came in a beautiful box, gift wrapped in elegant paper with a ribbon that spelled out congratulations. Inside was a crystal frame, the kind you display wedding photos in. Expensive, tasteful, the kind of gift that looked generous and thoughtful. But the photo in the frame wasn't a wedding photo. It was a screenshot of a text message. Ethan to Madison. She actually believes I love her. It's almost sad how trusting she is. This is going to be the easiest theft ever. Underneath the frame was a USB drive, elegantly labeled, a love story. On that USB drive was everything. Every text message, every email, Every photo, every hotel receipt, every bank statement showing theft. Both marriage certificates side by side. The police report documenting the bigamy charges. A timeline showing the 2-year affair. Video footage of them together in hotels. And a letter, written by me, addressed to the wedding guests. Dear friends and family, thank you for celebrating Ethan and Madison's love story. Since you're here to celebrate, I thought you should know the complete story, not just the romantic version they've been telling. Ethan and Madison met 2 years ago when she was living as a guest in our home, mine and Ethan's. Yes, I said our home, because Ethan and I are married. Have been married for 10 years. And we're still married. Because while Ethan married Madison 3 months ago, he never divorced me first. That's called bigamy. It's a felony in Georgia. Ethan is currently under criminal investigation for it. On this USB drive, you'll find complete documentation of their relationship. Text messages where they mock me for being trusting. Bank statements showing how Ethan systematically stole marital assets. Photos from their secret vacations. And proof that this wasn't a tragic love story where a man fell for someone new. This was a calculated scheme to defraud me while maintaining access to the assets we'd built together. Madison isn't just Ethan's new wife. She's my sister. The sister I raised after our parents died. The sister I put through college. The sister I welcomed into my home with open arms. The sister who thanked me by sleeping with my husband in my bed while I was at work. So enjoy the celebration. Enjoy the champagne and the dancing and the beautiful ceremony. Just know that you're celebrating fraud, theft, betrayal, and a felony. You're celebrating a relationship built on destroying someone else. You're celebrating 2 people who think hurting others is acceptable as long as they get what they want. Congratulations to the happy couple. May they get everything they deserve. Sincerely, Vanessa Parker, Ethan's actual wife. I also included business cards. For Caroline, my divorce attorney, and for a criminal defense attorney. With a note, you're going to need these. The package was perfect, devastating, designed to destroy not just their day, but their reputations, their relationships, their futures. Everything they'd stolen from me, I was taking back in one catastrophic reveal. I addressed it carefully, to the happy couple, arranged for it to be delivered to the venue 2 hours before the ceremony. Timed perfectly, so they'd receive it with enough time to open it before guests arrived, but not enough time to cancel anything. I wanted them to have to make a choice. Cancel the wedding and admit what they'd done. Or go through with it knowing that everyone would soon know the truth. Either way, I win. We need to stop here because we're at the moment. The moment when Vanessa's revenge is about to be delivered. When the package that contains everything, every truth, every betrayal, every piece of evidence, is about to be opened by the 2 people who destroyed her. And I need to make sure you're fully invested in what happens next. The fallout. The moment when Ethan and Madison open that package and realize they've been caught. When their wedding celebration becomes their public destruction. When everyone they know learns the truth. If you're not subscribed yet, do so now. Hit that subscribe button right now. Because you do not want to miss what happens when that package arrives. Hit like if you think Vanessa's revenge is justified. And leave a comment telling me, is this too far? Or is this exactly what they deserve? The day of the wedding, I wake up feeling surprisingly calm. Not peaceful. There's too much rage simmering beneath my surface for peace. But calm. Focused. The way someone feels when they've planned something meticulously and they're finally watching it unfold. I've arranged to have the package delivered at exactly 3 p.m. The wedding ceremony is scheduled for 5 p.m. with a cocktail hour beforehand starting at 4 p.m. My timing is deliberate. They'll receive it early enough that they can't ignore it, but late enough that canceling would be chaos. Guests will already be on their way. Vendors will be set up. The ceremony space will be decorated. They'll have to make an impossible choice. Go through with the wedding knowing their secret is about to be exposed, or cancel everything and face questions about why. Either option ends in their destruction. That's the beauty of it. I spend the morning at a spa, get a massage, a facial, a manicure. Take care of myself in ways I haven't since discovering the betrayal. Not because I'm celebrating, but because I need to feel human again. Need to remember that I exist beyond the pain they caused. Need to prepare myself for what's coming. Because even though I won't be at the wedding, I'll know what happens.
I've arranged for that too.
My friend Rachel, the only person besides Caroline who knows the complete truth, has a friend who works as a server at the venue. That friend has agreed to text updates throughout the event. Not because she's cruel, but because she has a sister too. And she can't imagine what she'd do if her sister betrayed her this way. I'll tell you everything, she'd promised. Every reaction. Every moment. Everything that happens when they open your package. So I wait.
At home in the house I shared with Ethan.
The house I'll be keeping in the divorce. Caroline assured me of that. Surrounded by memories that are all tainted now. All poisoned by the knowledge that nothing was real. That everything was a lie. At 3:15 p.m., my phone buzzes. A text from the catering manager, Sarah. Package was just delivered. They're in the bridal suite. I can't hear yelling through the door. It started. According to Sarah's texts, this is what happened when they opened the package. Madison saw it first. A beautifully wrapped box sitting on a table in the bridal suite where she was getting ready with her bridesmaids. 3 friends who had no idea they were celebrating an illegal marriage, who thought this was just a beautiful love story between 2 people who found each other. Ooh, an early wedding gift, one of the bridesmaids said. Should we open it? It says it's from Vanessa, Madison said, her voice uncertain. My sister. The room apparently went quiet. Everyone knew about me, or at least, they knew Madison's version of the story. The bitter ex-wife, who couldn't accept that Ethan had moved on. The jealous sister, who was angry about Madison finding happiness. The villain in their love story. Are you going to open it? Someone asked. I should wait for Ethan, Madison said, but her hands were already reaching for the box. Curiosity winning over caution. She unwrapped it, opened the lid, saw the crystal frame, pulled it out, and then, according to Sarah, the color drained completely from her face. Oh my God, Madison whispered. What is it? Her bridesmaids crowded around. Then they saw the screenshot. The text message. Ethan calling me trusting and sad. Calling the theft easy. Madison, what is this? One of them asked. I need to find Ethan.
Now.
Madison was already moving toward the door, the box in her hands, panic making her clumsy. She found Ethan in the groom's suite 3 doors down. Burst in without knocking. His groomsmen, all respectable lawyers and businessmen who thought they were celebrating their friend's new marriage, turned to stare. We have a problem, Madison said, her voice shaking. A big problem. She showed him the frame. The USB drive. The letter. Watched his face go from confused to horrified to absolutely devastated in about 30 seconds. What's going on? His best man asked. Ethan, what is that? Everyone out, Ethan said.
Now.
Everyone get out. But.
Now.
The groomsmen filed out, confused and concerned. Once the door closed, Ethan turned on Madison. How did she get all of this? How does she have our text messages? Our bank statements? Everything. I don't know. But Ethan, she sent this here. To the wedding. Where everyone is about to arrive. What do? We destroy it. We get rid of it. We pretend it never arrived. There are bridesmaids who already saw the frame. They have questions. And the letter says she sent copies to other people. What if she sends it to the guests? What if everyone sees this? Ethan read the letter. I imagine watching his face as he realized what I'd done. Watching him understand that I hadn't just discovered their betrayal. I documented it. Investigated it. Weaponized it. She's bluffing, he said. She wouldn't actually expose all this publicly. It would make her look vindictive. She sent it to our wedding, Ethan. She's clearly past caring how she looks. We go through with the wedding. We act like nothing's wrong. If anyone asks about the package, we say it was a sick joke. That Vanessa is bitter and made things up. We deny everything. But the USB drive has proof. Screenshots and photos, and who's going to look at it? Who's going to plug in a random USB drive at a wedding?
We throw it away.
We smile. We get through tonight. And tomorrow we'll deal with whatever fallout comes. According to Sarah, they tried to do exactly that. Threw the package in a trash can. Told the bridesmaids it was a misunderstanding. Put on their fake smiles and prepared to get married in front of 200 people who had no idea they were celebrating a crime. But I'd anticipated that. Of course I'd anticipated that. Because I know Ethan. I know how he operates. I know he'd rather lie than face consequences. That's why I sent copies. At 4:15 p.m., as guests started arriving for cocktail hour, several people received text messages. Anonymous messages from an email account I'd created just for this purpose. Messages that said simply, "Before you celebrate this wedding, you should know the truth about the couple you're honoring." With a link to a private website. The website I'd created was simple,
Clean.
professional. It contained everything from the USB drive. Every text message. Every photo. Every document. Every piece of evidence showing that Ethan and Madison had conducted a 2-year affair, that Ethan had married Madison while still married to me, that they'd stolen marital assets, that they'd mocked me for trusting them. I'd sent the link to 30 key people. Ethan's law partners. Madison's boss. Friends who I knew were gossips. Family members who deserved to know the truth. Media contacts who would be interested in a bigamy story involving a prominent attorney. Within 20 minutes, the website had been viewed 127 times. People were checking their phones during cocktail hour, whispering to each other, showing each other their screens. Sarah texted me updates. People are freaking out. Someone just confronted Ethan about the website. He's trying to deny it, but people have the proof right there on their phones. Madison is crying in the bathroom. This is insane. The ceremony was supposed to start at 5 p.m. At 4:55, one of Ethan's law partners, a senior partner named David Richmond, asked to speak with him privately. According to Sarah, who was close enough to hear, David said, "I just read some very disturbing information on my phone. Information suggesting you're currently married to 2 women simultaneously. Please tell me this is some kind of misunderstanding." David, I can explain. Can you? Because I'm looking at 2 marriage certificates. Both appear legitimate. Both show you as the groom. One from 10 years ago to Vanessa Hayes. One from 3 months ago to Madison Hayes. Is this real? Ethan apparently couldn't speak. Just stood there with his mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. "My God, it is real," David said. "Ethan, do you understand what you've done? Bigamy is a felony. You're a licensed attorney. You've committed a felony. Your career is over. The firm's reputation is at risk. I need you to leave.
Now.
Before the ceremony. This wedding cannot happen. But the guests are all here. People traveled. We can't just. You can and you will. Because if you go through with the ceremony, if you stand up there and celebrate an illegal marriage in front of 200 witnesses, you're compounding the felony. You're making it worse. Leave now. Get a lawyer. And pray that the district attorney's office shows you mercy." More people were gathering. Ethan's other law partners. Madison's family members who'd seen the website. Guests who'd come to celebrate but were now witnessing the groom being told to leave his own wedding. Madison appeared, her makeup ruined from crying. "Ethan, what's happening?" "People are saying we can't get married. That we have to cancel. That." "It's over," Ethan said. His voice was flat.
Dead.
"She destroyed us. Vanessa destroyed everything. What do we do?" "I don't know. I don't know." The wedding planner approached, tablet in hand, looking stressed. I'm very sorry, but I'm being told the ceremony needs to be canceled. Should I make an announcement to the guests or? I'll do it, David Richmond said. He walked to the microphone that had been set up for the ceremony.
Tapped it.
The room went silent. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the inconvenience, but this evening's ceremony has been canceled. There's been a family emergency. The couple asks for your understanding and privacy. The reception dinner will not be served. We appreciate you coming. The room erupted. People demanding answers. Asking what kind of family emergency cancels a wedding. Checking their phones where the website was still live, still showing all the evidence of betrayal and crime. Sarah texted, "This is chaos. People are yelling. Someone just called Ethan a fraud. Madison is having a complete breakdown. Security is trying to get them out a back entrance. Guests are leaving angry. Some are demanding to know the truth. The wedding planner is crying because everything is ruined. Vanessa, this is the most dramatic thing I've ever witnessed." I read her text and felt nothing.
No satisfaction. No joy.
Not even relief. Just emptiness where those emotions should be. They'd taken everything from me. My marriage. My sister. My trust. My sense of safety. My belief that family meant something. They destroyed me systematically, deliberately, while laughing about how easy I was to deceive. And now I destroyed them back. Their wedding. Their reputations. Their futures. Everything they'd built on the foundation of my pain. We were even. Except we'd never be even. Because what they'd taken from me couldn't be returned. And what I'd taken from them was only what they'd deserved to lose. The next few days were a media circus. The story spread fast. Prominent Atlanta attorney charged with bigamy after ex-wife exposes illegal second marriage. Wedding canceled when guests discover groom is already married to bride's sister. Elaborate revenge plot destroys couple's wedding celebration. My phone wouldn't stop ringing. Media outlets wanting interviews. Friends and acquaintances asking if the stories were true. Even strangers reaching out with support or condemnation, depending on their perspective. I ignored most of it. Gave one statement through Caroline. I'm simply a woman who discovered her husband committed a felony and chose to make sure the truth was known. I take no pleasure in what's happened. I simply wanted people to understand who they were celebrating before they celebrated. Ethan was arrested 2 days after the canceled wedding. Charged with bigamy, a felony in Georgia that carries up to 5 years in prison. His law firm suspended him pending the outcome of the criminal case. The Georgia Bar Association opened an investigation that would almost certainly result in his disbarment. His career, everything he'd worked for, everything he'd supposedly valued more than our marriage, was over.
Just like that.
Madison lost her job. Her employer, a conservative marketing firm, didn't want to be associated with someone involved in a public scandal about theft and betrayal. They let her go with some generic excuse about restructuring. But everyone knew why. Her friends abandoned her. The bridesmaids who'd been so excited to celebrate her wedding wanted nothing to do with her after seeing the text messages where she mocked me. Her social circle evaporated almost overnight.
She tried to reach out to me. Called.
Texted.
Sent emails.
I blocked her on everything. I had nothing to say to her. Nothing she could say would undo what she'd done. No apology would be sufficient. No explanation would matter. She'd made her choice. Now she was living with the consequences. Before we continue with what happens next, I need to pause and ask you something. Because this story is about to take a turn that you might not expect. A turn where Vanessa has to reckon with what she's done. Where she has to face the question, was the revenge worth it? If you're still watching, if you're invested in seeing how this ends, then I need you to stay with me. Hit that subscribe button if you somehow still haven't. Hit like to tell me whether you think Vanessa was right or if she went too far. And drop a comment telling me, if you were in her position, would you have done the same thing? Or would you have taken the high road? Because what comes next is going to challenge everything you thought you knew about revenge and justice, and whether destroying someone who destroyed you actually heals anything. Now, let's continue. Let's see what happens to Vanessa after the dust settles. After the revenge is complete. After she's gotten everything she wanted. 3 weeks after the canceled wedding, I sat in Caroline's office signing the final divorce papers. The divorce was uncontested. Ethan had no leverage, no defense, no ability to fight for anything. I was getting the house, the retirement accounts, most of the liquid assets. Everything I was legally entitled to, and then some because of his crime. You won, Caroline said, sliding the papers across her desk. Completely. Decisively.
He has nothing.
You have everything. Yes, I said, but the word felt hollow. So, why do you look miserable? Do I look miserable? You look like someone who's won a battle but lost something in the process. Talk to me, Vanessa. What's going on? I was quiet for a long moment. Then, I destroyed them.
Completely.
Ethan's career is over. His reputation is destroyed. He's facing felony charges. Madison lost her job. Lost her friends. They both lost everything. And I did that. I orchestrated all of it. They did it to themselves. You just exposed what they'd done. Did I? Or did I go too far? I didn't just expose them privately. I exposed them publicly. At their wedding. In front of everyone they knew. I humiliated them the way they humiliated me. Was that justice or was that cruelty? They humiliated you first. They betrayed you. They stole from you. They committed crimes against you. Everything you did was a response to that. But does that make it right? Does being hurt give me the right to hurt back that severely? You didn't hurt them. You told the truth. If the truth destroyed them, that's because they built their relationship on lies and crimes. The truth was always going to come out eventually. You just controlled when and how. I could have told the truth differently. I could have reported the bigamy to the police and let the legal system handle it. I could have filed for divorce and taken what I was owed without the public spectacle. I could have been the bigger person. And if you'd done that, they'd still be together. Still celebrating their love. Still thinking they got away with it. Still mocking you behind your back. You did what was necessary to make sure they faced consequences. But what about me? What about the consequences I'm facing? What consequences? You won. You got everything. Except I don't feel like I won. I feel empty. I spent 3 weeks planning revenge. 3 weeks consumed by rage and hurt and the need to destroy them. And I did it. I destroyed them. And now that it's done, I don't feel better. I just feel tired and hollow and like maybe I turned into someone I don't recognize. Caroline was quiet. Then she said gently, "Revenge doesn't heal. It provides a moment of satisfaction, maybe, a sense of justice. But it doesn't heal the wound. Only time and choice and moving forward do that." Then why did I do it? Why did I hurt them if it wasn't going to make me feel better? Because you needed to. Because they needed consequences. Because the alternative, letting them get away with it, would have hurt worse than anything else. You did what you had to do, Vanessa. But now it's done. Now you have to figure out how to move forward. 4 months after the canceled wedding, I was grocery shopping when I saw her. Madison. In the produce section, looking thin and tired and so much older than 26. I could have left. Could have pretended I didn't see her. Could have avoided the confrontation entirely. But something made me stay. Something made me walk over. Maybe curiosity about what she'd say. Maybe a need for closure. Maybe just the inability to keep avoiding my own sister forever. "Madison," I said. She turned.
Saw me.
Her face crumpled. "Vanessa." "Oh God. Vanessa, please can we talk?" "I don't think that's a good idea."
Please.
5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. 5 minutes to explain. To apologize. To what? To make yourself feel better about what you did? Because that's what this is really about, isn't it? You want absolution. You want me to forgive you, So you can stop feeling guilty. I do feel guilty. I feel terrible. What I did was unforgivable.
Yes, it was.
But I need you to understand why. I need you to know that it wasn't about hurting you. I never wanted to hurt you. Then what was it about? Love? You fell in love with my husband and couldn't help yourself? Is that the story you're telling yourself? It wasn't like that. Ethan pursued me. He told me you guys were unhappy. That your marriage was essentially over. That you were staying together out of obligation, but that neither of you were happy. He made it sound like he was trapped and I was saving him. And you believed him? I was young, stupid, lonely. You were always so perfect. Perfect marriage, perfect career, perfect life. And I was just your little sister, always in your shadow. When Ethan paid attention to me, when he made me feel special, I convinced myself it was real, that we were meant to be together. So, you slept with my husband in my house, in my bed, while I was at work supporting both of you. She flinched. I know how terrible that sounds. I know what I did was unforgivable. But Vanessa, I loved him. I really thought we had something real. I thought he loved me too. And now I know he didn't. Now I know he was using both of us. You were the stable wife who made him look good. I was the young mistress who made him feel powerful. Neither of us mattered to him beyond what we could provide. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I didn't see that sooner. I'm sorry I believed his lies. I'm sorry I betrayed you. I looked at my sister. Really looked at her. She was genuine in her remorse. I could see that. She was suffering too, that was obvious. And part of me wanted to forgive her. Wanted to hug her and tell her it was okay and try to rebuild some semblance of a relationship. But I couldn't. Because trust, once broken, doesn't just magically repair itself because someone says sorry. Because family, once betrayed, doesn't automatically deserve reconciliation just because you share blood. I appreciate your apology, I said finally. And I believe you're genuinely sorry. But Madison, that's not enough. You didn't just make a mistake. You didn't just have one moment of weakness. You conducted a 2-year affair with my husband. You married him while he was still married to me. You mocked me in text messages. You celebrated deceiving me. That's not a mistake. That's a choice you made repeatedly for 2 years. I know. And I'll spend the rest of my life regretting it. Good. You should. But that doesn't mean I owe you forgiveness. That doesn't mean I owe you a relationship. You destroyed our family. You destroyed the trust between us. And I don't know if that can ever be repaired. So that's it? We're just done? Forever? I don't know about forever. But for now? Yes. I need space. I need time. I need to heal from what you did to me. And I can't do that while you're in my life asking for forgiveness that I'm not ready to give. I understand. But Vanessa, I am sorry. I know that doesn't fix anything. I know sorry isn't enough. But I need you to know that I recognize what I did was evil. That I destroyed something precious. That I hurt the one person who'd always been there for me. And I'm sorry. I hear you. But Madison? Sorry doesn't undo the damage. It just acknowledges it. And acknowledgement isn't the same as repair. I walked away. Left her standing in the produce section, looking devastated. And I felt not satisfaction, but maybe something close to closure. I'd said what I needed to say. Set the boundaries I needed to set. Made it clear that forgiveness wasn't automatic just because we shared blood. Maybe someday I'd be able to rebuild something with Madison. Maybe years from now, after enough time and healing and work, we could find a way to be sisters again. But that day wasn't today. And it might never come. And I was okay with that. 6 months after the canceled wedding, Ethan's criminal trial began. He tried to take a plea deal. The prosecutor offered him probation and community service in exchange for a guilty plea, but he'd refused. He wanted to fight. Wanted to claim it was all a misunderstanding. wanted to avoid a felony conviction at all costs. So we went to trial, and I had to testify. Sitting in that witness box, looking at Ethan across the courtroom, I felt nothing.
No anger. No hate.
Not even satisfaction that he was finally facing consequences. Just nothing. He was a stranger now. Someone I used to know. Someone who destroyed what we had and was now paying for it. The prosecutor asked me to describe our marriage, to explain what I'd discovered, to walk the jury through the timeline of betrayal. Mrs. Parker, when did you first learn that your husband had married your sister? I received a call from the county clerk's office. They discovered he had 2 active marriage licenses on file. And what was your reaction? Disbelief at first, then horror, then rage. My husband hadn't just had an affair. He'd committed bigamy with my sister while stealing from our shared assets. It wasn't just betrayal, it was criminal. Did you confront him?
Yes.
He admitted everything. Admitted the 2-year affair. Admitted marrying Madison while still married to me. Admitted his plan was to stay married to both of us until he'd moved enough assets around, then divorce me and keep everything. How did that make you feel? Like I'd been married to a stranger. Like 10 years of my life had been a lie. Like the person I trusted most in the world was actually someone capable of calculating deliberate cruelty. Ethan's defense attorney tried to paint me as vindictive. Tried to suggest I'd fabricated evidence or exaggerated the theft or made the whole situation seem worse than it was for revenge purposes. But the evidence spoke for itself. 2 marriage certificates. Bank statements showing systematic transfer of assets. Text messages between Ethan and Madison discussing their plan. Hotel receipts and credit card statements documenting their affair. The jury deliberated for 3 hours. Came back with a verdict: guilty of bigamy. Guilty of theft by conversion. Guilty on all counts. The judge sentenced him to 3 years in prison, with eligibility for parole after 18 months. He also ordered restitution. Ethan had to pay back every penny he'd stolen from our marital accounts.
And he was disbarred.
His law license was permanently revoked. Everything he'd worked for. Everything he'd valued more than our marriage.
Gone. Just like that.
I watched him being led away in handcuffs, and I felt relief. Not satisfaction. Not vindication. Just relief that it was over. That the legal system had acknowledged what he'd done. That consequences had been delivered. That I could finally close this chapter and move forward. 1 year after discovering the betrayal, I'm sitting in a therapist's office talking about revenge and healing, and whether the two are mutually exclusive. Do you regret what you did? Dr. Williams asks. Exposing them at the wedding? The public humiliation. Sometimes, I admit, when I think about how consumed I was by rage, how much energy I spent planning their destruction, how I turned into someone I didn't recognize, cold and calculating, and focused on causing pain. That's not who I was before. That's who they made me become. But you chose those actions. They didn't force you to send that package. You're right. I chose it. But I chose it from a place of such deep pain that I didn't feel like I had other options. I felt like if I didn't destroy them, they'd have destroyed me and gotten away with it. Like letting them celebrate their love story that was built on my pain would have been accepting that what they did was okay. And now, looking back with perspective, was it worth it? I don't know. They faced consequences. Ethan's in prison. Madison lost everything. Their relationship didn't survive. I heard they broke up 3 months after the wedding was canceled. So they were destroyed, yes. But I was too. I spent a year consumed by anger. A year where every thought was about them. A year where I couldn't move forward because I was too focused on making sure. They suffered. That's not healing. That's self-destruction disguised as justice. So, if you could go back, would you do things differently? Maybe. Probably. I'd still report the bigamy to police. I'd still divorce him and take what I was legally owed. But the public humiliation? The wedding package? The website? I don't know if I'd do that again. Because while it gave me a moment of satisfaction, it also cost me a year of my life. A year I spent being bitter and angry instead of healing and growing. That's growth, Vanessa. Recognizing that revenge might feel necessary in the moment, but doesn't actually heal the wound. Being able to look back and understand that you had choices, even when it didn't feel like it. But I also don't regret it entirely, because they deserved consequences. They deserved to have their lies exposed. They deserved to lose what they'd built on my pain. So maybe I'd do it differently, but I'd still do something. I just wouldn't let it consume me the way it did. What would you say to someone in a similar situation? Someone who's been betrayed and is considering revenge? I'd say, be careful. Revenge might feel necessary. It might feel like the only way to reclaim power, but it comes at a cost. It changes you, makes you focus on destruction instead of reconstruction. And while it might give you a moment of satisfaction, it doesn't actually heal the wound. Only time and choice and deliberately moving forward do that. But sometimes, I add, people need to face consequences. Sometimes betrayal requires exposure. Sometimes justice requires action. I don't regret exposing what they did. I just regret how much of myself I lost in the process. 2 years after the canceled wedding, I'm living a completely different life. I sold the house. Too many memories. Too much pain embedded in the walls. I bought a smaller place in a different neighborhood. Started fresh. Redecorated with furniture that had no connection to Ethan. Created a space that was mine and only mine. I changed jobs. The scrutiny and gossip at my old company became unbearable. Everyone knew my story. Everyone had opinions about what I'd done. I found a position at a different company. Better pay. Better opportunities. A fresh start professionally as well as personally. I started dating.
Cautiously.
Very cautiously. Trust doesn't come easily after what I experienced. But I'm learning to be open again. Learning that not everyone is a liar. Not everyone will betray me. That Ethan and Madison were aberrations, not the norm. I'm even talking to Madison again. Not regularly.
Not deeply.
But occasional texts on birthdays and holidays. Brief conversations that acknowledge we share history even if we can't rebuild the relationship we had. It's not forgiveness, not completely, but it's peace. And sometimes peace is more valuable than vindication. As for Ethan, he's still in prison. Will be for another year. I heard through mutual acquaintances that he's taking classes. Working on getting some kind of certificate that might help him find work when he gets out. He's written me letters, 3 of them. Apologizing. Explaining. Begging for forgiveness. I haven't responded. Not because I'm still angry, but because I have nothing to say to him. His apologies are about his guilt, not my healing. His letters are about making himself feel better, not actually making amends. And I don't owe him the absolution he's seeking. The woman I was before the betrayal, the trusting, optimistic, believing the best in people woman, she's gone. Changed. Maybe lost forever.
The betrayal did that.
Changed me at a fundamental level. Made me more cautious. More guarded. More aware that people are capable of depths of cruelty I'd never imagined. But the woman I am now, the one who survived, who rebuilt, who chose to move forward even when staying stuck would have been easier, she's stronger, wiser, less naive, yes, but also less willing to accept treatment I don't deserve, more willing to set boundaries, more willing to prioritize my own well-being over being nice or accommodating or understanding. The revenge didn't heal me. Destroying them didn't undo their betrayal. But it did give me something. It gave me back power. Control. The ability to say this was done to me, but I'm not just accepting it.
I'm responding.
I'm making sure there are consequences. I'm refusing to be a victim. Was it healthy? Maybe not. Was it understandable?
Yes.
Would I do it again? I honestly don't know. 3 years after everything fell apart, I'm asked to speak at a women's empowerment conference. The topic, Betrayal and Recovery, my story. Standing on that stage, looking at 200 women who've come to hear how I survived one of the worst betrayals imaginable, I finally have clarity about what happened, about what I did, about what it cost, and what it gave me. Revenge, I tell them, is seductive. When someone hurts you deeply, when someone betrays you in ways that shatter your world, revenge feels like the only response that makes sense. It feels like power, like control, like the only way to reclaim what was taken from you. I sent a package to my ex-husband's wedding, a package that exposed his crimes and his betrayal and destroyed his celebration. And for a moment, for that brief moment when I knew they were opening it, when I knew their world was about to implode the way mine had, I felt powerful. I felt like I'd won. But here's what nobody tells you about revenge. It doesn't heal the wound. It just creates another wound on top of it. Because while you're focused on destroying the person who hurt you, you're not healing. You're not moving forward. You're stuck in the pain, marinating in it, letting it define you. My ex-husband and my sister deserved consequences. They committed crimes. They betrayed me deliberately and systematically. And I don't regret exposing what they did. I don't regret making sure they faced justice. But I do regret how much of myself I lost in the process. I regret the year I spent consumed by rage. I regret turning into someone cold and calculating. I regret prioritizing their destruction over my own reconstruction. If I could go back, I'd still seek justice. I'd still report the crimes. I'd still divorce him and take what I was owed. But I'd spend less energy on revenge and more energy on healing. I'd focus on building my new life instead of destroying their life. I'd choose forward over backward. Because here's the truth. The best revenge isn't destroying the person who hurt you. It's becoming so happy, so successful, so fulfilled that their betrayal becomes irrelevant. It's living so well that you forget to care whether they're suffering. It's moving forward so completely that looking back doesn't even occur to you. They took something from me. My marriage.
My trust.
My sense of safety. And I can never get those things back. Not the way they were. But I can build new things. Better things. Things that aren't built on lies or betrayal or deception. So if you're sitting here because someone betrayed you, because someone destroyed your world, because you're fantasizing about revenge, I understand. I've been there. I've felt that rage. I've plotted that destruction. But I'm also here to tell you, revenge is a temporary salve on a permanent wound. It might give you a moment of satisfaction, but it won't give you peace. It won't give you healing. It won't give you the life you deserve. The only thing that gives you those things is choice. The choice to focus on yourself instead of them. The choice to build instead of destroy. The choice to move forward instead of staying stuck in anger. Justice is important. Consequences are necessary. But revenge, real revenge, isn't about making them suffer. It's about making yourself so happy that their absence becomes a blessing instead of a curse. The applause when I finish is thunderous. Women are standing,
Crying.
Some are nodding like they understand exactly what I mean. Others look skeptical. They're still in the rage phase, still convinced that destroying the person who hurt them is the only path to feeling better. I understand both reactions, because I've been both of those women. After the speech, a young woman approaches me. She's maybe 28, with red eyes that suggest she's been crying recently and often. Miss Parker? I needed to thank you. My husband cheated on me with my best friend. They're getting married next month. And I've been planning something similar to what you did. Something to ruin their wedding. But hearing you talk about the cost of revenge, I don't know anymore. I don't know if I should go through with it. I look at this young woman who reminds me so much of myself 3 years ago. Hurt. Angry. Convinced that revenge is the only option. Can I ask you something? I say, of course. If you destroy their wedding, if you expose them and humiliate them and make them suffer, Will it undo what they did to you? Will it make you trust again? Will it heal the wound?
No, she admits.
But it'll make me feel better. For a moment.
For a moment, yes.
But what about the next day? And the day after that? And the year after that? Will you still feel better? Or will you look back and realize you spent so much energy on them that you forgot to spend energy on yourself? I don't know how to just move on. How do you just let them get away with it? You don't let them get away with it. You make sure there are appropriate consequences, you tell the truth, you protect yourself legally, you make sure justice happens. But you don't let your need for revenge consume you. You don't turn into someone you're not just to hurt someone who's already shown they don't deserve your energy. So what should I do? What I wish I'd done. Report what happened. Protect yourself. Take what's legally yours. Tell the truth to people who need to know. But then, and this is the hard part, let go. Focus on building your new life. Focus on healing. Focus on becoming someone so happy that running into them someday doesn't hurt. It just reminds you of the bullet you dodged. She's quiet for a long moment. Then, did you really dodge a bullet? Or are you just telling yourself that to feel better? It's a fair question. An honest question. Both, maybe, I say. I lost 10 years to someone who wasn't worthy of them. That's real. That's painful. But I also gained clarity. I learned who I am when everything's stripped away. I learned what I'm capable of surviving. I learned that I'm stronger than I thought. So yes, I dodged a bullet. Because staying married to someone capable of that level of betrayal would have been worse than the pain of leaving. And your sister? Do you really have peace with what she did? Peace isn't the same as forgiveness. I've made peace with the fact that she showed me who she is. I've made peace with losing the relationship we had. I've made peace with the fact that some betrayals don't get repaired. They just get accepted. That's not the same as forgiving her or trusting her again. It's just acceptance. Letting go of the fantasy that we'll ever be close again and being okay with that reality.
Thank you, she says.
For being honest. For not pretending it's easy or simple or that there's a right answer. There isn't a right answer. There's only your answer. Whatever choice you make it deliberately. Make it consciously. Don't let anger make it for you. Don't let pain make it for you. Choose what you do next and then own that choice. That's the only way to make sure you don't regret it later. 3 years after the canceled wedding, I'm in my apartment getting ready for a date when my doorbell rings. I'm not expecting anyone. I check the security camera and see Madison standing there, holding something wrapped in brown paper. I consider not answering. Consider pretending I'm not home. We've been cordial for the past year. Texts on holidays, brief conversations at family events, but we haven't had a real, honest conversation since the grocery store encounter 2 years ago. But something makes me open the door.
Madison.
This is unexpected. I know. I'm sorry for just showing up. But I needed to give you something. Something I should have given you a long time ago.
She hands me the package.
It's heavier than I expected. What is this? Open it. I unwrap it carefully. Inside is a journal. Leather-bound. Expensive. The kind of journal someone buys when they're planning to write something important. I've been in therapy for 2 years, Madison says. Working through what I did. Why I did it. How I justified such horrible behavior. And my therapist suggested I write you a letter. A real letter. Not an apology seeking forgiveness, but a true accounting of what happened from my perspective. This is that letter. It's long, probably too long. But I needed to write it all down. Needed to be honest about who I was and what I did and why. Madison, I don't know if You don't have to read it. You can throw it away if you want. But I needed to give it to you. Needed you to have the option of understanding, even if you choose not to take it.
Why now?
Why after all this time? Because I'm finally at a place where I can be honest. Where I'm not just apologizing to make myself feel better, but actually owning what I did. I destroyed our relationship. I betrayed you in the worst way possible. And I can't undo that. But I can be honest about it. I can give you the truth you deserved all along. She turns to leave, then stops. Vanessa? I know you'll probably never forgive me. I know our relationship will never be what it was. But I want you to know something. What you did, exposing us at the wedding, destroying everything, I deserve it. We both deserved it. And I'm not angry about it anymore.
I'm grateful.
Because that public humiliation forced me to face what I'd become. Forced me to get help.
Force me to change.
So thank you for not letting us get away with it. She walks away before I can respond. Leaves me standing in my doorway holding a journal that represents 2 years of therapy and honesty and work. I close the door. Sit on my couch. Look at the journal for a long time. Do I want to read it? Do I want to understand Madison's perspective? Do I want to open wounds that have finally started to heal? I don't know. Maybe someday. Maybe never. But having the option, having the truth available if I want it, that means something. It means Madison has grown enough to be honest. Grown enough to own what she did without making excuses. Grown enough to understand that some betrayals don't get forgiven, they just get acknowledged. And maybe that's enough. Maybe that's the closest thing to closure any of us get. 5 years after my husband married my sister, I'm sitting in a coffee shop when I see him. Ethan. Out of prison now. Looking older. Thinner. Humbled in a way he never was before. He sees me. His face goes through several emotions: surprise, shame, fear, something that might be hope. He approaches my table carefully, like I might explode. Vanessa. Ethan. Is it okay if I sit for a moment? I promise I'll leave if you say no. I should say no. Should maintain the boundary I've built. Should refuse to give him any space in my life. But I'm curious. Curious what 5 years has done to him. Curious if he's changed or if he's still the same man who thought he could be married to 2 women simultaneously. 1 minute, I say. He sits, looks at his hands. I know you probably don't want to hear this, but I'm sorry. For everything. For the affair. For the bigamy. For stealing from you. For betraying you. For all of it. I've heard that before. I know. But I mean it differently now. Before, I was sorry I got caught. Sorry there were consequences. Sorry my plan didn't work. Now I'm sorry for what I did. For who I was. For how I hurt you. What's the difference? Prison. Therapy.
Time.
Losing everything and having to rebuild from nothing. Understanding that actions have consequences and that some consequences are permanent. Like your law license. Like my law license. Like my reputation. Like relationships that can never be repaired. I lost everything I thought mattered. And it turns out most of it didn't matter. The career. The status. The image. None of it was real. It was just ego. And Madison? We haven't spoken in 4 years. She wanted nothing to do with me after everything fell apart. Can't say I blame her. I used her the same way I used you. Differently, but just as badly. Why are you telling me this? Because I owe you the truth. Because you deserve to know that I understand what I did. Because even though I know you'll never forgive me, I need you to know that I'm genuinely sorry. Not the performative sorry where I'm trying to get something from you. The real sorry where I just acknowledge that I was wrong and you were hurt, and there's nothing I can do to fix it. I look at this man I was married to for 10 years. This man who destroyed me. This man who's now sitting across from me looking genuinely remorseful. And I feel nothing. Not anger. Not satisfaction. Not even pity. Just nothing. I appreciate the apology, I say. And I believe you're genuinely sorry.
But Ethan?
That's not my problem anymore. What you feel, what you've learned, what you've become, that's between you and yourself. I don't need your apology to move forward. I already did that. Years ago. I know, but I needed to give it anyway. Then consider it given. And consider this conversation over. I stand up to leave. He doesn't try to stop me. Vanessa, he calls as I'm walking away. I turn back. I hope you're happy. I really do. You deserved better than what I gave you. You deserved better than who I was. Yes, I agree. I did. But I'm not the one who has to live with that knowledge. You are. I walk out of the coffee shop, and I don't look back. Not because I'm angry or hurt or still carrying his betrayal, but because looking back isn't necessary anymore. I'm 40 years old. I have a career I love, friends who are loyal, a dating life that's cautious but hopeful, a relationship with my sister that's limited but peaceful, a life that's mine, built by me, for me, without anyone else's betrayal or drama or chaos. The revenge I took 5 years ago, the wedding package, the public humiliation, the destruction of their celebration, it gave me something in the moment. It gave me power when I felt powerless. It gave me control when everything felt chaotic. It gave me a sense of justice when I felt victimized. But it didn't give me what I really needed. It didn't give me peace or healing or the ability to move forward. Those things only came when I stopped focusing on them and started focusing on me. If I could go back, would I still send that package? I honestly don't know. Part of me thinks they deserved every bit of the public exposure and humiliation. Part of me thinks I could have gotten justice without the spectacle. Part of me thinks the revenge was necessary for my healing. Part of me thinks it delayed my healing. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle. The revenge wasn't wrong, but it wasn't entirely right either. It was human. It was understandable. It was a hurt woman trying to hurt back. And while it accomplished its goal, they were destroyed, it also cost me time and energy I could have spent rebuilding instead of demolishing. But I don't regret it. Not entirely. Because it taught me something important. Revenge might feel necessary in the moment, but it's what you do after the revenge that actually matters. Do you stay stuck in anger? Or do you use that moment of power to launch yourself forward? I chose forward. Eventually. After some stumbling and backtracking and struggling. But I got there. And now, 5 years later, I'm happy. Really, genuinely happy. Not because they suffered. Not because justice was served. But because I built something better. Something that's mine. Something that can't be taken away by someone else's betrayal. That's the real revenge. Not the package I sent. Not the wedding I ruined. Not the public humiliation I orchestrated. The real revenge is being happy, being whole, being someone who survived the worst betrayal imaginable and came out stronger on the other side. They took something from me, but I took something back. Not through destruction, through reconstruction, through choice, through refusing to let their betrayal define the rest of my life. And all of that, is worth more than any revenge package could ever be. One final time, I need to speak directly to you. Because this story is ending, and I need you to understand what it really means. This isn't just a story about a woman who got revenge on her cheating husband and backstabbing sister. This is a story about the cost of revenge. About how destruction might feel necessary, but doesn't actually heal. About how the best revenge isn't making someone suffer. It's making yourself so happy that their suffering becomes irrelevant. Vanessa sent that package. She destroyed their wedding. She exposed their crimes and their betrayal and their lies. And they deserved it. Don't get me wrong, they absolutely deserved consequences. But the revenge didn't heal her. It gave her a moment of power, yes. A moment of satisfaction, definitely. But it didn't undo the betrayal. It didn't restore her trust. It didn't give her back the 10 years she lost. Only time did that. Only choice did that. Only the deliberate decision to focus on building her new life instead of destroying their life did that. So, if you're watching this and you're planning revenge on someone who hurt you, I want you to remember Vanessa's story. Not the part where she sent the package. The part where she realized that revenge was just a temporary salve on a permanent wound. The part where she understood that real healing comes from moving forward, not from pulling others backward. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever been betrayed by someone you trusted, if you've ever fantasized about revenge but wondered if it was worth it, hit that subscribe button one last time. Hit like to tell me whether you think Vanessa's revenge was justified or if she went too far. And leave a comment sharing your own story. Tell me about your betrayal. Tell me about your healing. Tell me whether revenge helped or hurt. Because these conversations matter. Your experiences matter. And the more we share these truths about betrayal and revenge and healing, the more we help each other understand that surviving betrayal is possible. That moving forward is a choice. That revenge might feel necessary, but peace is more valuable. Thank you for being here for this entire journey. Thank you for watching Vanessa go from betrayed wife to revenge seeker to healed woman. Thank you for understanding that justice and revenge aren't always the same thing, and that choosing yourself over destroying someone else is the ultimate power move. May you find healing. May you find peace. May you understand that the best revenge is living so well that the person who hurt you becomes a distant memory instead of a defining moment. And may you have the wisdom to know when justice is necessary and when moving forward is more powerful than looking back.